Oh, okay. We're gonna have to pause this because we're having an issue with the links. One second, y'all. Um, but yeah, nice to see you. Oh, you look cute too.
So I'm doing my deliveries today. So if I go dark, I'm still listening because I have my headphones and my we did an
Okay.
early Christmas. So these are my Christmas gifts for my wife. But so I can still
Oh,
hear and still interact and all that good stuff. So
okay.
I just wanted to be present and get some spiritual love.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, hold on. I gotta connect my Bluetooth first real quick. I didn't do that. Um, yeah, we are having difficulty with getting some people in the link. I've had this happen a few times and I'm not sure why. It works for some people and then some people it hasn't. So I might just need to
Mm,
create a whole new link altogether so that it works out. Let's see. But thank you for your patience.
absolutely. I was like, man, if she already started the meeting, I don't want to interrupt, but then I'm not gonna get the message. So what do I do? I gotta get the
Yeah,
message. I gotta get the message. So hey, sorry.
thank you. Let's see. Okay, so the headphones. Hold on a second again. Let's try this again. Oh, there we go. Maybe one of them will connect. Come on, headphones. Okay, I'm gonna pause for those that are watching. You
All
there?
is well. Yep, I'm here. All is well.
Okay, thank you. I got it connected. Man, the technical difficulties this morning.
Yeah, buddy. But everything's always working out for you. So
It is.
there we go.
It is. Thank you. Yeah, it is so nice to see you, though. I'm so happy to see you. Um,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good to see you too. You look beautiful as always.
Thank you. How you doing?
I am doing amazing. Just came back from Germany. We took a cruise out to Greece. But before we did that,
Mm.
we went to Budapest for a few days and then we met up with some people in Greece. Took the cruise for 7 days. We went to Milan, so many places, right? Such a good time. Met great people as well. So yeah, we had an early Christmas this weekend because my wife's father birthday was this past weekend. So we were like, well, why don't we just do an early Christmas for the whole family? And so that's what we did.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
That that
Yep.
sounds really fun. That's a lot
It
of good
was.
places.
Yeah, it was. It was like some of the places, because you know how you go to different places and you see different pieces. Now, mind you, we have Zara in the States, but Zara overseas, totally different. Okay, so
Yeah.
when I grabbed a few pieces there, came back to the States, and I'm wearing it, they were like, "What? Ooh, that's a nice jacket." I said, "Oh, I picked this up in Greece." Oh, you bougie? No, no, I'm just saying that's where I picked it up at. Like that's it. Nothing more,
That
nothing less. You know. And
that's a good hack though. That's a nice hack.
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's
Such a good time. Everything was wonderful. Yeah, life is good. Life is good. Life
nice.
is good.
Good for you. And nice for that's wonderful having the early Christmas.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming in. I actually had a
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you for coming in. I had a there's another few people that were saying they were going to come in today too. I wonder if maybe they had the same issue you had, or if they're
Yeah.
just running behind. But I do
Hmm.
pray that whoever can make it and see things.
Absolutely.
But I do want to open the circle with protection prayer and whatnot. And let's begin here. Let me just make sure we can
Alrighty.
hear. I'm going to delete this link, make sure no one uses that one. Let's see here. Delete. Okay. And delete. Okay. So I'm deleting the other link. Hopefully everyone can see the other one. And There we are. Okay, so Heavenly Father, Mother God, the creator of all things, thank you so much for another wonderful and beautiful day. You've just been giving us many, 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 many wonderful days, at least from our perspective, as I do acknowledge there are so many people who the same perspective that I'm looking through, or the same view that we look through, might not look the same to others. And so I just acknowledge that. Um, Thank you for the blessings that we have today. Thank you for the perspective that we have, that we've cultivated, and that we've grown, and that we've trusted. For some reason, the word trusted is coming to me psychically right now. Over time, we've trusted this perspective, is what Spirit is telling me right now, over time. And and I just want to give thanks for that our health, that we are able and well to be in this prayer circle, to communicate with each other, to learn more, to hear more, and then to practice what we've learned as best as we can. Angels and guardians and spirit guides of the highest love and light, I ask that you, Lord, I just ask that you please surround our faith prayer circle with your heavenly white light of protection, just making sure that no negative entities or energies, regardless of source, no negative thoughts or intentions, regardless of source, across all space, time, and dimensions can interrupt the prayer circle, can thwart the plans of the prayer circle, can or try to um, bring any kind of ill will upon anyone that is of the prayer circle and who has been of the prayer circle, who is now, and who will be. And I thank you, Lord. I thank you, angels, for allowing us to share this message and for teaching us the message and for blessing us with the message. In Jesus' name, I like to pray, Amen. I also acknowledge all faiths based in love. I acknowledge Buddha, Krishna, the Orishas, the Native American spirit guides, and so many more. Every single faith that is based in love on this planet, because I recognize that we are one. And that is the teachings of all of these love-based teachings, that we are one. So, for any of those who are watching this at the right and perfect time in the future, or even the moment I put this up, hello and well rising, I feel to say, well rising. Um, I don't know about you, but I woke up this morning and I actually felt some emotions coming up, energy of rage almost. Um, yeah, I did with my teacher. I have a teacher, her name is Anna Kaminska, and she teaches a Kundalini activation process. It's also known as spinal energetics. Another name, some people might know it as spinal wave or spinal flow, all the same thing. It has many names from many schools, but all teaching the same thing. My teacher, Anna Kaminska, she was taught by her teacher, Zenet Wong. And so then she also created her own school at the right time after many years of successful practice and created the Nova Energy School, which
Mm.
I have been a graduate of. Um, I was I was a part of the first class of graduates. And so now I hold this practice of, I've been building this practice and holding space um, for two services, psychic counseling, which is like for those of you who know, I have done psychic readings, tarot readings, and whatnot, but I have graduated into psychic counseling, where it's like a therapy session, but including the psychic work. So there's a lot of the spirit channeling going on and messages coming through, and to help you move through whatever it is that you need to move through, or me just being an ear and sharing this spirit's advice as it comes through. Um, so it's a combination of like getting a reading and also having therapy at the same time. And so then, and also because of graduating from Nova Energy School, I also offer in person and virtually, all of these in person or virtually, um, the Kundalini energy work sessions. So this is a non-invasive, no hands-on, unless you would like that quality of body work as well, which I offer. Um, Energy work. And it's essentially me tuning in with the omnipresent God source energy that's the healer of all things. So there's a special activation of the Kundalini that happens, but also um, that we get from our teachers, and that passes on through the lineage of the teachers and the teacher before that teacher and the teacher before that teacher. Um, and these sessions can be done privately or in group. Now, I say this to say, because this is not something that I've ever felt to share. I've been certified for a while now, and I've been practicing for a while now. But for some reason, Spirit's making me feel to share this now. And it's relating to the energy work and why I've woke up feeling enraged. Uh, Sunday, this past Sunday, I still do work with my teacher, us as now practitioners, the students who were once students who are now practitioners, we still practice with our teacher, Anna Kaminska. So about a couple times a month, we have follow-up sessions with her, um, continuing our own energy work with her. She's doing the clearing and the healing with us. Where this energy work, it moves through the body. It can move the body a lot. A lot of people go into yoga poses, even if they've never practiced yoga before. Some people don't move at all at first. It takes a few sessions of that. But essentially, it's energy that's moving out emotional blockages, mental blockages. For those of you who have experience with plant medicine, strong plant medicines, that where you do a lot of purging and healing and whatnot in that sense, it's like a lighter version of getting the same results. And so for me, I was called to learn this way of facilitating energy work, energy clearing, facilitating the self-induced healing, because we are only activating the dormant parts of the body's memory that knows how to heal itself. We are not healing anybody. Let me just say that. We're not healing anybody. We only are facilitators, helping and assist activate in activating those dormant capabilities um, of the body's natural healing that may have been blocked by fear, by trauma, or by subconscious things that were fed into us of that we are not as powerful as Jesus has mentioned that we are, or that others have in the past have said that we are. Um, so when doing an energy work like this, it's very common that people would go through a process of catharsis. They will jolt, a lot of their body is moving because energy is trying to like shake out of them. They will maybe have some tones coming out of them, sounds. Um, Maybe they need to, kind of just make a hum, or maybe they'll start releasing through tears a bunch of backed up sorrow, grief, just emotion that needs to release in order to get into the next phase of liberation, of healing, to allow the body to process what is no longer there, what should no longer be there, what has passed, so that we can be more prosperous, Um, it's very common people get visions, might get a message from their higher self as well, if you have psychic tendencies. Um, and then and so there's different things like this, and then some people don't move at all. For me, when I was doing my session, like I said, us as students, we do the session with our teacher regularly. It's a part of our ongoing study as we graduated. For a year longer after graduation, we still work with her to do our own continued healing and our own process, but also to practice uh, utilizing the skill, practice in the meditations, practice everything that we're talking about, and we share with our clients to practice that and to move through all of it so we can know what it feels like, right? So going through a session with her, a group session virtually this past Sunday, um, one of the things we talked about was somatic practices, and some people may have heard of somatic work. This was the first time she ever added into a group session, which this group session was of her clients, and then students of hers are allowed to come into the session for free to observe, to witness, or to help and assist to practice holding space. And so this was the first time she added somatic practices. And one of the things she was teaching, which we went over in school too, but was about screaming into the pillow, kind of just giving or letting yourself throw a tantrum and just these different things. So there's if you want to learn more, you could definitely check out her information. But it was so beautiful. And I mean, some of us probably already heard of that simple thing, like scream into the pillow if you're angry, even maybe silent rage, just kind of, not saying anything if you happen to be in a space where it's not appropriate for that, but just letting it out that way. And for me, and she was mentioning how it's actually very exhausting when you're letting out the emotions of rage. You'll be very tired after. But when you give yourself the space to release it, how much healing and relief you feel, then you have more of a clear mind, a clear understanding of who you are, and then you're also able to move forward in achieving your goals much smoother. Um, and then, also the long-term effects of, there's a lot of physical healing that happens with the Kundalini activation process, energy work or spinal energetics, because we are tapping into the body's natural healing capabilities, activating the dormant capability. And so a lot of people experience healing of their physical ailments too, not just emotional ones. So and I only say that from my own experience. I've had body parts that have healed from that, and then also from clients' experience and other people who I know who has gotten sessions. So um, when you're releasing somatically, I don't know much about somatic work yet. I'm actually studying that. I'm learning about that part of way, but from what I understand so far, it's about the nervous system. It helps us relax the nervous system, find some ease. It taps into the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system things, right? And so the way she was teaching us was in combination with somatic practices. She was also giving us the energy work too. She was activating the Kundalini energy and the wise information from her teachers. And so there's things moving through. In a session itself, we're doing it virtually. So we're all laying on our beds or wherever we are at home, and we're all on a Zoom call together. And she puts on some music. The music helps facilitate the process. For me, I'm going through all the things. I'm getting visions. My body's moving, jerking here and there. My body's also for me, my body starts to do its own healing by my hand just starts to move and goes over my chakras and heals myself. Um, I'll get emotions. I went into tears. I'll go into tears sometimes to release something that I didn't even know was there. And it's really relieving, and it's such a gentle way to bring about this. I would say, because I am very experienced in plant medicines and strong plant medicines. um, I would say it gives about the same relief and healing that one could give in a much gentle way, um, that you would with a strong plant medicine experience, except it just takes more um, it takes more, what is the word I'm looking for? It takes more times for you to take off layers. So you have to go to many sessions. in order to do it because you're, in a plant medicine session, it is more aggressive in a sense, like you're purging, maybe you're throwing up, maybe you're really crying, you're going through a lot of somatic stuff for sure. Um, and your body might want to dance. There's so many things that can happen in a session with powerful facilitators with plant medicine. But some people can't handle that because of their physical incapabilities, right? They're physically maybe disabled, or maybe they are a person that has to take a lot of medications. And in a lot of plant medicine gatherings, you cannot participate if you are having if you have to have a lot of medications, because the combination of the medicine and the hospital medications would not do well for your mind, your body, your spirit. So doing something like CAT or spinal energetics or spinal wave or spinal flow, that kind of thing, this kind of energy work, it allows for a more gentle moving of the energy. For me, letting out rage was one, because when she was teaching us the somatic practices for releasing rage in a safe way, like screaming through a pillow, whatever, for some of these things, it didn't move through me right away. So I was going through all the other experiences. I was crying, I was moving, but I didn't feel rage. I actually felt very calm. I felt very at ease. I felt very much at peace. Like it was all good. And I was cool throughout my whole day. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I have done many years of, plant medicine or whatever. Maybe I just released it already. Maybe it's just not there. Sure enough, what is it? 2 days later, I wake up, because after you do a Kundalini session, by the way, energy session, the energy, it's almost like the session itself um, blows up the dust that's on you, and the dust particles are everywhere. And it takes time, which we call integration. So just like for those of you who are experienced with a plant medicine gathering, um, integration is the important part, not the session or the gathering itself, right? So it takes time for that work that was all moved to settle, to actually root, and to help and to transform. So it takes about 1 to 2 weeks for that to happen with a energy work session too. And so sure enough, 2 days later, I'm starting now, because it's this morning, to feel some of the movement of that work from Sunday coming through. And rage came up, but I still don't have the physical energy to release the way she was saying, like to in the pillow as well. As I just, my body just doesn't feel like it has the energy this morning to release that way. Instead, my voice let out like a monotone. "Oh." It was kind of like this morning for like half an hour. And also wanting to cuss out like whoever the rage, like in my mind, in my heart, I didn't expect certain past, literally that happened like 10 years ago, images and feelings of a specific moment actually that happened 10 years ago, um, or 8 to 9 years ago, is what was coming up in my mind and my heart and my spirit. It was coming up and it wanted to be released. And I was surprised, like, wow, I didn't know that this bothered me that much, or that it was still so deeply rooted. So I gave myself permission to into the pillow for like half an hour. And also I was cussing out the person. I was saying all bitches and hoes and all the things. I was like, you stupid idiot. I was like, it ain't going ham on the pillow, but I just couldn't scream. And so, and then I was able to complete. Now, Spirit told me to share that right after it happened. I heard Spirit tell me, share it for the circle. And I was like, okay, because I didn't feel like I needed to. I usually don't share whatever is I'm going through when I'm going through sessions. So I'm just giving that to whoever's going to be watching this at the right and perfect time. I feel like maybe that might be something that you're interested in. If you are not the type of person that is wants to consume any kind of plant medicine, does not want to consume what you fear, let's be honest, what you fear is drugs. only because I say it that way because, the government in the US has put a lot of propaganda and fear onto what we now have so many scientific studies on onto they have deemed certain drugs that are actually plant medicines that are very healing for the body if facilitated in the proper way and treated with respect, as they are medicines from Mother Nature that our ancestors, Native Americans, all Africans, India, everyone has been using. Um, but it's not for everybody. I feel to share. It's not for everybody. And Sigrid, please, I'm gonna get your opinion on this in a second because I know you as well. You have experience. But this is not for everybody. You take consuming something from the outside of us, especially if some of our trauma comes from, you know, drugs, right? Or people, as we grew up past overdosing on something that they shouldn't have had, even if those things are not what I'm talking about, those things are not like real drugs are not plant medicine. That's not at all what I'm talking about. And if anyone wants to go into a deeper conversation about that, I'd be happy to talk about it. Just email me at faithprayercircles@gmail.com and I could discuss with you more what sort I'm speaking of. But I can understand where the trauma would come from. So some people need a more gentle way and a way that's not taking anything where they feel like they're taking drugs, right? So I understand. And so I say this to say because the Lord has many ways of healing. Let's just get that clear. Yahweh has so many ways, doorways to heal. There's not just one way. So please don't let anybody pressure you into plant medicine. Don't let anybody pressure you into even yoga, okay? Don't let anybody pressure you into the Christian church. Don't let anybody pressure you out of the Christian church. Don't let anybody pressure you to do meditation. And don't let anybody pressure you to take an art class if you don't feel the art, okay? Or not saying that happens to me. I love art. Don't just, what I'm saying is what you feel called to as your avenue of healing. And you may have many avenues of healing. Many of them might call to you a sound bath, a psychic counseling session, a psychic reading, getting a Reiki session with somebody, taking a run, changing your diet, maybe trying the plant medicine, maybe trying the extreme ones, maybe just the plant medicine of rosemary in rosemary tea. Okay, maybe you just do a women's circle and have cacao, the raw hot chocolate. Maybe it's just becoming a plant mom, okay, or plant papa. There's so many different avenues of healing. Maybe it's going to actual therapy. Maybe it is for you, the medical system and working with a psychiatrist and all that. And that's who actually I was waiting to come online with us. I had there was a psychiatrist that was about to come online with us, and I was really excited. I hope he's able to get in. But you know what? If he's not, that's okay because he's a psychiatrist. I'm gonna get him on here at some point. Um, so I had a psychiatrist, a new psychiatrist friend who was about to come in the session, who also has um, a experience with this heavy, strong plant medicines that are really healing. So that was going to be interesting to get their take. But stay tuned for that, y'all. Anyways, I say this to say for those of you that feel the call to healing in a much more gentle way, just know there is a way for you. And sometimes, let me tell you, y'all, prayer is a way. Prayer is a way as well. Please do not think that you need anything to consume, that you need anyone to facilitate for you. You are so powerful on your own as well. And the stronger you can increase your faith about that, the more that your prayer can work alone. Yeshua and many other spiritual masters have proven that fact. as they lived on this planet, okay? But it is also helpful for those of us that are just in the beginning stages and aren't really certain about who we are all the way, to have people like me who can help facilitate your faith, who help strengthen the faith, who help you on the process, who help move the blockages, the energy blockages, the mental blockages, whatever, so you can strengthen your faith, so you can see clearly, so you can access your capabilities more. Or maybe a shaman or someone who, a medicine woman, a medicine man, you can get the help and assistance to heal an ailment of illusion or disillusion that your society has forced upon you because of propaganda or whatever the reason is. Maybe there's just such a strong trauma that you had as a kid that you cannot get past. And that's why you need therapy, because we need help from someone to hold our hand to move that out. So I'm just reiterating, there are many ways of healing. And at some point, we might go through needing many of these at different points in our life. We might need, a friend only to talk to at one point, to which then is the gateway to get us to start speaking our truth about what we even need, which then gets us into therapy, which then gets us even more through talking about what's going on and analyzing, which then gets us into starting to explore exercise, yoga, eating different, changing our habits, meditation, which then gets us into maybe now discovering about plant medicines and how it can help the subconscious mind, the nervous system, which then maybe gets you into a lighter energy work because now you're more gentle on the body or something else, right? Which then can get you to really going deeper into your own meditation and healing yourself even more, right? So I just say that to share. There's so many ways of healing. And when we're moving through rage, like I said, I started my healing process over 10 years ago. And even now, still stuff that was from 10 years ago, after all this plant medicine and energy work healing and prayer and all this stuff, there's still things that are hidden in the subconscious and the nervous system that is rising up from healing work, granted, that I'm doing now, but it took so many years of needing to take off the many layers that were covering that first in order for me to even uncover it and be able to be in the mindset and the acceptance level that it takes to process that and allow myself to honor the truth about not just who I was expressing rage about, but to honor the truth of I forgive myself and taking ownership and responsibility of my part of the situation that I was expressing rage about in general. This morning, when I was expressing that rage, I was also telling myself, I forgive you, I forgive you, I forgive you. I forgive that party. I was acknowledging my part. I was acknowledging and I was allowing and giving myself permission to express all of the angry, not so nice things I wanted to say to that person. Just allowing that to myself to just be mean and bitter and all that for a second, you know. But it took all these years of doing so much work through yoga, through therapy, through changing my body with and my mind with eating, through energy work, through plant medicine, through so many things for me to even get into the place to be able to express that genuinely, powerfully, with grace in a way, and then to be able to share it without shame. So I honor you, I appreciate you, friends, and I pray for your journey to be well. Sigrid, thank you so much for listening to that as well. Spirit is really moving through. Can you share anything that you feel comfortable about your journey? Well, first of all, have you had experience with somatic energy work or somatic work at all?
Um, so I guess my question is Reiki a form of somatic?
I would say, yeah, it's in that category. But as far as what I understand now, and if there's anybody who has somatic practices, I actually have a lot of friends who are somatic work facilitators. Um, please correct us or in the comments or whatever if you know something better. But it's more of like the actual somatic work. I think it's more of like the physical part where we're physically doing things like certain breath work and maybe moving the body in certain ways. And then also maybe even certain type of touch that the person does on you in order to help the nervous system release and relax, as far as I know. Reiki,
Okay,
I know they do a little bit of touch, but it is energy work. So,
gotcha.
uh, yeah, I'm not sure.
Outside of Reiki, no. That is something I am very much interested in trying and absorbing, for lack of a better term, because whenever we interact with anyone, we absorb some type of energy, their energy, and so forth. So you want to make sure that you're with someone you trust and all that good stuff. So for you, we're gonna talk about it offline because yes, yes, yes. And really, for me, when I think about the type of sessions of energy work and things that energy, because the thing that you explained to me when we were doing a reading one time, this is a while back, I'll never forget. You were like, "Hey, you don't need to be in front of me. I got you." And I'm like, wow. And that reading was so on point. And I'm like, I'm not even in front of you. How do you know this? So I say that thank you for showing me and making me a believer in it, because there's no way you would have known, unless you tapped into my energy, which, we willfully did together. And yeah, that that session really allowed me to open my eyes to see what it is that Secret needed, what it is that Secret needed to work on, and how Secret can be a better person just for herself, her family, and for those that she cares about. So outside of that whole thing, no, I haven't had much interplay with somatic healing or anything like that. Again, very interested. But one thing I will say that I was very intrigued with your comment about the shame and the guilt. And I think we probably talked about this in a past session or the last session that I attended, because that guilt is heavy, right? And that shame is heavy. I know for me growing up, our parents really put that on us. You should be ashamed of yourself. But why? Like why? I don't understand. I did what I wanted to do. It might have been not good, but why should I be ashamed of the action that I took if I didn't feel shame? So it's almost like our parents put it on us. So as I'm navigating life now, I'm finding more about what I value. What are my values? It came to the point where I had to look up what values are, because the military as well has a set of values. It's an acronym called leadership: loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. After 20 years, yes, I still remember it. And yes, those are things that I follow. But when I think about Sigrid and how she wants to develop her relationships, and I'm talking about all relationships, even the ones down to my children, where I know my generation was where it was children are seen and not heard, which to me is like crazy because they're the next generation. Why are we not hearing from them? You know? So I value, number one, kindness. Number two, clarity. What are we doing? How are we doing it? Where are we going? How long is it going to take? Who's over there? Right? Because I need to make sure I'm comfortable in the space too. Um, but then looking at the aspect of not making people feel shame and guilt, right? Because children pile that on to themselves. Well, it was my fault. How do you know it was your fault? What makes you think it was your fault? And the curiosity. That's another value I have, is curiosity. Let's be more curious. Let's be more curious. Why are we not curious? Versus, oh, I see you mad. How do you know I'm mad? What makes you think I'm mad? Maybe disappointed, maybe upset, but not mad. So I think all too often we as society give people a feeling. It's the level of projection that goes, and I'm talking with my own experience too, but also I found out most recently in my experiences in life, especially with dealing with my twin boys, Roman and Silas, that it's okay to say sorry, you know. Um, we were playing basketball, and I thought one of them did something. Come to find out, it was my wife did something. She was trying to set a pick, so she was pulling on one of the boys, and he didn't know that she was pulling on him. So I assumed it was the other one. I'm like, hey, what? And she was like, no, 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 it was me. And the one that I yelled at is sitting there emotional. He started tearing up. And I had to go to him. I went to his eye level and said, hey, hey, I messed up. I didn't handle that right. I'm sorry. Okay. I didn't have all the information on what's going on. That doesn't validate the fact that I messed up. I'm just saying I'm sorry that that happened. Okay. I should have handled it better. And he looked at me. He was like, because our connection is a pound, right? Just randomly, he'll come up instead of giving hugs. Sometimes he'll give me a pound just to let him know, hey, mommy, I see you. Let me give you a pound. You know, that's the kind of our connection. So when he gave me a pound, that means, hey, I accept your apology. I was like, oh, thank you, son. Thank you. You know, because some apologies we can't accept. We need you to do better. You know, and I even told him that. I said, when you apologize, the next thing to do is show by action by doing better. And so they're understanding it, they're grabbing it, they're being seen, they're being heard, and not shut down like we were in our generation. And the thing is that I'm trying to be the person I needed when I was growing up. So that's all I got. Thank you for allowing me to speak and share.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, it sounds like with the guilt and with shame that was passed on from our families. I like what you said. They, it's like they put it on us. It seems, it's almost like as if it's a spirit of that was transferred on. And for some reason, are not faulting them in any kind of way, but for some reason, our families who put the shame and guilt on us wanted us to feel what they felt or wanted to share what they felt about themselves, really, the shame and the guilt and the sorrow and all those things that they held. Um, but also, too, when you are now raising your kids and you see there's different things that they're moving through, um, even something like what you're saying, where there was a mistake between your sons, the misunderstanding between your wife and your son of who did what. Um, I like how you, instead of passing on the feelings of guilt, even to your wife, right, for whatever her mistake was, or even holding on that guilt yourself, instead you just you took care of the emotion right away by owning up to it with your son, whoever was made a mistake. You saw the feelings that they were feeling, and it from what I was envisioning, probably they were feeling like some type of shame, some type of guilt themselves, and you immediately broke that that I don't want to say curse, but you immediately broke that energy tie that could have really scarred your son in a way that we don't even understand by simply handling it in the moment and giving yourself grace. First of all, you gave yourself grace enough to even be able to admit um, to your son that you made a mistake. And how big is that when we make a mistake and we're able to own up to it, the karma that we could release ourselves from right away. And we just immediately change the karma. And it's such an energy change right away. And then not only that, but you downloaded that capability even more into your son of noble character, this noble characteristic, this integrity, this characteristic of integrity, um, allowing him to be able to express and cultivate and even be able to rediscover his sovereignty as he gets older, which is really, really, really powerful, I feel. And that's really beautiful. And also, you shared something with me and reminded me too with my kids. Because I know I was dealing with something last night with them arguing and whatnot. And it does come up from time to time when there's a misunderstanding of who did what, so I'll yell at the wrong person or something. So thank you for the reminder of how to handle that, how to give grace for that in the moment and for ourselves and respect. Um, but also too, you saying that you haven't um, you only explored Reiki. So Reiki is wonderful. By the way, I love Reiki. Like for anyone who's ever tried that, it's pretty cool. Um, with Reiki, how has your have your kids, have you ever had your kids try Reiki before, Secret?
No, I have not. Not as of yet. I think it is something that would be interesting to see what comes out of it. Um, so that might be something I do try with them.
Yeah, yeah, me neither. I haven't had my kids try Reiki yet. I would have them try that too. I think they would really enjoy it. Oh, right now I'm seeing a hummingbird, hummingbird flying right outside the window. Um, but yeah, Reiki, I feel like it's for those who aren't familiar with Reiki. It's such a light energy work, like it's a very gentle energy work, where one sometimes people would put hands on you. I call all of these energy works basically laying hands, like how the Bible speaks about this capability of people can go and lay hands. Maybe you've heard of that in the Christian church too, in other ways, but it seems to be history has shown that energy work is not a new thing. Okay? It's not a new thing. It just has many different names because many people have been teaching it, as they rediscovered their ancestral capability, that their ancestors were already doing, and then maybe it was lost for a generation or two and then rediscovered. So they feel like they're the new teacher of it, you know, or maybe it has been practiced continuously and just the names of it have changed to energy work, to spinal flow, to Reiki, to this, to that, because uh, because of the times, because the times we're in now, where most people don't really understand, especially like the newer generations, right? Don't understand laying hands. I remember when I was a kid in church, I remember hearing about that in a black church. They would talk about the power of laying hands, and it would usually be the grandmothers of the church that have that power the most because their faith were more strong. Their faith was the strongest and pure. And they or the pastor, and they would come and literally, the circle of grandmas would put their hands like this, not even touching the person, put it around the person, and would be doing a healing together collectively with prayer and intentional energy, sending this healing energy. And we call these Reiki groups now, or Reiki sessions now, you know, or maybe they come and they actually put hands on the shoulders, and then the person like, oh, falls out, and their body goes into catharsis. Their body goes into this whole jerking and all this stuff, trying to release energy. Um, and we also call the Holy Ghost, coming over the person. Um, so these things, and then there's so much more that we're even rediscovering thanks to the power of the internet about what our African, for those of us from that lineage, about what our African ancestors were doing, about what our Native American ancestors were doing, about what the shamans of our ancestry have been doing, These things are not new. Energy work is not new. It only has a different headdress now, you know. So I could see how it can be scary to some people too, because it was so, for a period, it was so looked down upon um, by certain churches and government and whatnot, because it was seen as either witchcraft or there was this propaganda, because it actually helped people. So it took away money from those who wanted to have more money and control and power. It took away power from those who wanted to have more power. Um, it took away the power to be able to manipulate people and their mental state and whatnot. Because now, what the energy work is waking up people's realization that they can heal themselves, or, these kinds of things. So, something like Reiki, I'm saying this to say because I remember when I was practicing Reiki was like the start of me doing energy work. Um, I didn't know I was doing Reiki. I didn't even know what I was doing. I just know a memory awakened within me, and I gave myself the permission instead of questioning what was going on with me. I just gave myself permission to go with it, and I was feeling these urges to make certain sounds or to move certain ways or to put my hand here or here or here, and then all of a sudden I felt better, and I feel my hands warm up or get cold or whatever different things. And I was always really into Harry Potter. So I was already curious. I was like, I wonder what happens. And so I gave myself the permission to let those urges happen. And then I come upon somebody like, hey, I could do this. Maybe I can help you. This helped me. I'll try this on you. And they were open to it and say, oh, you are doing Reiki. And I didn't know that's what the heck it's called. So a lot of the things I've learned over the years, I didn't know the name of them because I didn't study them in the book first. They came to me first by remembrance and experiencing it. Then, when I found out, oh, that's a thing that has been written about, then I went and go to study it, and I'm still studying some of them to understand the logic of it, and so that I can explain it to someone I teach, or so they could, right? So, not saying that if somebody learns these things in the opposite way, where they study it first and then experience it, not saying that's wrong, because that's not either. That's also correct. As long as the experience is happening, they could speak about it and they can help you, right? I'm just saying that this energy work is so embedded, this energy healing capabilities, it's so embedded in our DNA from our ancestry that we don't need a book to tell us about it. We don't need some facilitator to tell us about it. It's only as strong as as we're willing to open ourselves up for the healing, for the capability, and the important part that Sigrid said, which is taking ownership of our faults, of our parts, of our self-forgiveness, and moving through the experience of healing ourselves in order to then be able to help another. It's really important in the process of being a facilitator that we do our own work as well, that we allow the emotions to flow and go through the catharsis and go through clearing out the blockages and whatever, so we can be able to hold space for another. So we can be able to understand what they're going through as they're moving through those emotions, because we did it too. Or so then we can also um, tap in a little better, right? Um, when we when we study from the mind, I think that's Raja Yoga, where you're coming through realization, enlightenment, through the doorway of knowledge. And there's many different ways of coming in through the doorway to enlightenment and understanding. There's Bhakti Yoga, which is service. I think the Raja is education, and then there's the others, right? So there's service, there's psychic work, meditation kind of thing. There's breath work, there's the asanas, so hatha yoga, and others, the exercises that you see. So there's so many different ways of coming to enlightenment, just like there's so many different ways of coming to self-healing. And we might even come through many of those doors and use many of those. We might go one through one doorway or simultaneously come in through two doorways and then come out and then go into another one, a different phase of our lives, a different season of our lives. My spirit is really making me feel to share this with someone who I feel is going to be a youthful person who is new in their energy and ancestral um, recognition and remembrance process. And this is to fully give you permission to explore yourself, understand who you are, and be okay with saying that you need help, because that will be the beginning of your process to heal. So then you can do what you feel to do for others and answer that call that most likely is coming to you to help others heal and facilitate their process of healing as well. Um, so I just want to give thanks to the Lord. I want to give thanks to Jesus right now is really coming up to me in my heart, to Mary as well is really coming up in my heart, to Buddha, to Krishna, the Orishas, the Native American spirit guides of the highest love and light, just all of the beings of love and light, all those that are of service for us, for the highest good for everybody involved. And I thank you. I just thank you guys for teaching us, for helping us better understand, um, for helping us move through our crap, so that we can be of service genuinely to another, for clearing the way for our faith to increase, and so that we can have doubtless, like free of doubt, faith, the power that is necessary to do anything for all miracles to happen, period, regardless of what any logic wants to come about. Thank you for helping us do that hard work, for helping us and guiding us through our meditation. Um, Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you for protecting us along the way, Yahweh, and angels and guardians and spirit guides with the highest love and light, the heavenly source, the creator of all things, the one God, goddess that there is, that is, um, and that is, and her many expressions, her many personalities, her many flowers, her beautiful garden of just high quality expression. I thank you for every single bit of it that she is, that she is. Um, and we are blessed for it. We are blessed for it. We acknowledge you, Baba. We acknowledge you, Mama. We thank you, Yahweh. Thank you, angels. Thank you, spirit guides. Um, so I just want to ask one last question, Sigrid, before we close out. Um, how are you feeling with your journey thus far? And when you did your Reiki, and um, how do you feel like it has, how did it feel in the moment of change? And then how did it change you in the long run? Or do you feel like it had?
It for me, the person that gave me the it was a Christmas present from a friend of ours, who is big on spiritual elements. She wears, the crystals and things of that nature. So she was like, "Hey, I wanted to gift you a Reiki session." And I was like, "Wow, okay, great."
Mhm.
I did some research on it as much as I could at that time. My wife wasn't too big on it, but I used mine. And when I used mine, the session was I did shake and jump a little bit. But also she mentioned to me that I am covered by an angel. And I was like, "What?" She was like, "You are protected. So anything that you want to do, go do. Go try it. Go experiment.
Mhm.
Just go. You are protected because the angels got your back." And I was like, "Wow." They were like, "You have a very powerful angel protecting you." And I'm like, "Wow, I have to be," because there was a couple times I should have been dead by my own mom's hand, as a child. However,
Mhm.
I'm here, thankfully. Um, but when I tell you that session gave me, it almost like, how somebody has low self-esteem, right?
Mhm.
Internally, right? Externally, not a thing. But internally, there's some elements of spirituality that I I'm not so sure on, right? So there was a level of unsure uncertainty with going into this session, but after coming out, I felt powerful. I felt like I could do anything. I felt like, not saying I'm going to go jump off a bridge or anything, no, because you got to still be smart, right? But the way in which I approached life after that, it became when I always knew to show your how do I say this? Your esteem, for lack of a better term, when you enter a room, you introduce yourself. Hey, how you doing? My name is Sigrid, blah, blah, blah. Or hey, how you doing? So that way it's an element of control as well, kind of a little bit, to where you kind of control who you speak to and how you interact with them, because you're the first one to introduce yourself, right? It's a leadership trait that you learn in the military, depending on what tier you're at. But more than anything, for me, it began to show my power that much more, because what are you going to do? Not shake my hand? What are you
Mm,
going to do? Not tell me your name? What are you going to do? Not tell me what you do for a living, or how we can be of service to each other? So
mm,
on a daily basis, when I wake up, other than saying, thank you, Jehovah, for allowing me to wake up, how can I be of service today? Who can I be of service to? And when I tell you, my mornings, I'm looking for it. I'm not trying to be a people pleaser, because there's a difference. I'm not going extra out of my way to please anyone. But if I could be of service to somebody, yes. And I want to give a quick story about so my mother passed back in 2016, right before I retired from the military. And I didn't have the opportunity, because it was so sudden, right? I didn't have the opportunity to necessarily get to know who she was with me being an adult, because I'm serving in the military and never pretty much coming home. So I say that there was some challenges with her health early on, where she was bedridden and things of that nature. But for me, whenever I see a woman of her age, I immediately think of my mom, right? So as you know, I do my deliveries, and this day in particular, it was cold outside. And I saw this older lady taking some things out of her car, and the block that I was on, I had like 4 deliveries on one block. So I was there for a little bit. And as I'm coming back, I see this lady. She is struggling with one of those big old Carvacs, and she's parked on the road. And I'm like, okay, nice neighborhood and everything like that. So I didn't have a concern for my safety at that time, because you also got to think about that. And in the moment, I said, I need to help her. I need to at least ask if I can help her. So I said, hey, young lady. I pulled over and stopped. I said, can I help you? And she was like, oh, yes, please. When I tell you, she was struggling with it to get it up over into the street, up her driveway. I knew all of that was going to happen. So I said, can I be of service? She was like, oh, yes, please. Thank you so much. I said, I'm doing my deliveries. I'm not going to, cause any harm. I just want to help. And she was like, okay, you seem very nice. I said, I try to be. So I get her inside, right? I get the car back inside. It wasn't heavy for me, but I'm pretty sure in her 80s, 90s, it was probably heavy for her. So as I bring it inside, there's a little girl on the inside, maybe no more than maybe 4. She says, Grandma, is this your new friend that helped you with the stuff from the car? And she looked at me and she was like, yes, this is my new friend that helped me with the stuff from my car. I said, Grandma, thank you so much for lighting up my day. She was like, no, thank you so much for lighting up my day. I said, your wish is my command. I said, you have a great day and be safe out here. She was like, yes, ma'am. Hey, safe driving to you, because I know you're delivering packages. I said, oh, you saw that? She was like, yes. I said, okay, great. So when I say it was more for me than she knows, I call it selfless service, but on the inside, it's really about, I would want somebody to help my mom if they could, you know? So thank you for allowing me to share.
thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. I appreciate how you share how Reiki empowered you, not did it for you, but only facilitated in helping you feel, really probably remember the empowerment that was already inside of you. And then to be able to um, serve in that way as well, that that is like food for the soul, like moments like that, I really, really, really appreciate. And I remember having aha moments often when I've been in situations like this, right, where Spirit's given me an opportunity to serve, where it's disguised, like physically, right? Like we're the ones being of service, you know, like we're the ones that's helping lift the package into the house for somebody. But really, it's our food. It was, like you said, it's for us. It's really for us. It's and that goes into even more so, why I feel like Spirit talks about this is some of the aha moments I've had of why Spirit talks about to be of service to another. Because it truly isn't actually even about them. You know, it really isn't. It's really about us. Everything is about us, the one true goddess God that there is. And yet, simultaneously, is about them too, because they are the part of the it, the all, the everything. And being a reflection outside of ourselves, being, you know, if we are all one, that woman was you. That woman was you. You know, so you heard that woman was you. And it's essentially like you are just helping yourself. And then you immediately got energetically, you immediately got to feel the reward and the instant karma of um, that self-help. Isn't that wild how that kind of is?
And you are absolutely right. For me, he was the catalyst for me to receive the kindness and the grace and the compassion that it takes to stop a stranger to be, hey, may I be of service to you? You know,
Mhm.
without anything. Like I wanted nothing from her other than to legitimately just help her. That's it. That's it.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, and thank you for sharing that testimony too, because I feel like it is important for somebody to hear that in some of this healing work that we were talking about earlier too, and how I mentioned that there are many avenues of healing, and we might have to even dip our toe in many of them. Servant leadership is another one of them. That is another one that, and I actually, Spirit made me feel too. This comes in perfectly because I felt too just give to those who maybe didn't see the last video, I think it was that I did. The Holy Bible came out. Spirit wanted me to read some verses from the Bible. And I'm not going to read it today because that was, you can go back to the last video and it was really good. But I'll give you the verses so you can look at yourself. It was about servant leadership and worthiness. And we went through John 13, verses 1 through 17. For those of you who see this at the right and perfect time, take a look at those verses. I also have a couple more for you that Spirit was making me feel to share with you from videos that I did in the past as well. If you look at the last, in between the last 10 videos, I would say you could find these, the videos where I did, went over the Bible in these sections. In those videos, you'll see in the topic section, the description box at the bottom, it will say text and it will have the text of whatever was we went through. And for those of you that are new to the prayer circle, occasionally I feel the guidance to study the Bible, to go over Bible verses, and to even learn right there in the moment as I'm channeling and hearing from the Holy Spirit that comes up within us about what the verses are. And I leave it totally open for discussion and for anyone to even email about to help us understand deeper and process more. We also have First Corinthians 13, 1 through 13. That one I feel like is really important for someone to please go and check that out as well, because that one speaks about oh, I love this one so much, okay? Because this one put me in check. Let me tell y'all, because as a psychic reader, as an energy worker, as a medicine woman, as the things that I do, a yoga instructor, a mother, friend, like all this stuff, right? It was exactly, I heard this long ago and it put me in check. And then just to hear it often again always is a great reminder. First Corinthians 13, 1 through 13, for all of us energy workers, healers, you know, believers of any sort that has what seems to be superhuman capabilities, okay, or even all the degrees, whatever. This is a great one. It speaks about you can have the capability of speaking tongues, you can have the capability of doing energy work, of prophecy, of whatever skill. You can have any type of skill, all these capabilities. You could be of service, 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 service all day. But if you do not have love, it doesn't matter anyway. I love that chapter so much because it is such a humbling reminder of this. And it's nice to hear regularly as I'm moving through this work more and more and more. It always reminds me, come back to love. Come back to love. What is the intention of what we're doing? Come back to love. Find the love in what we're doing, because really that's the healing medicine of everything. Um, the other thing is the last one I went over that was really powerful was John 20, verse 26 through 31. That one I love so much as well, y'all. Like, it makes me so happy for real because that one really opened my eyes up to strengthen the faith even more. That's a powerful one to read. If you want to have a doubtless faith, y'all, I would say that's one of the verses to definitely read because, or to just up your faith a little bit more, be reminded, have a little bit more of a reminder because this one talks about how Jesus goes into about miracles, basically, how he demonstrates and he just really reminds us that um, not everything is in the Bible itself, and it actually says that all the miracles and all the things we can do. I'm paraphrasing, but it says that in this verse. It says you cannot find it in this text. So I love that because not a lot of Christian churches and whatnot. And so, I'm not Christian, but I definitely follow Yeshua. I love Jesus's example, and I love a lot of the Christian text. But yeah, it says in the Bible itself that and they don't emphasize this in church. I'm not sure why, but it says it itself. You cannot find all the information that you will need about the miracles in this Bible itself. And it says that in that verse, but it also talks about miracles. It talks about miracles and how miracles are not logical. Miracles are not something you can explain. Miracles just are miracles for a miracle reason. So maybe if you want to increase your faith to really help yourself truly boost your belief in the unthinkable, literally, the things you cannot think about because it just is the omnipresence capability, please read that verse. And I just want to thank you in general. And if anyone has any more Bible verses that we can get into that you really love, please share. Go to faithprayercircles@gmail.com and share them, please. I'd love to hear them, read them, and learn more. I am definitely one who is quick to excited to about the humbledness of being humbled and learning more to soften my heart and my understanding. So bless you, my friends. Secret, do you have any verses real quick that really are on your heart that you know about that you want to share?
No, not right now, but I will ask.
Okay.
You said it was First Corinthians what again?
Yeah, so the we got First Corinthians third chapter 13,
Okay.
verse 1 through 13.
1 through
Yeah.
13. Okay. And then
Yeah, and then
John
we also have
20, what was that one?
uh
Because I got John
yeah,
13, 1 through 17. I got that one. But you said John
okay.
20, what was the
John
verses?
Yeah, John 20 verses 26 through 31.
26 through 31. Okay. Strength and faith. Got it. Got it.
Yeah, I love that. All three of those. Those all three are ones that came up in the last, I would say like between the last between 5 and 10 videos that I did recently. They're in the most
Mm,
recent videos for sure. But yeah, so we
okay.
went over those verses for anyone who wants to go back. Um, and I channeled some things as I was reading them, which literally was new information to me about it was just the Holy Spirit teaching us deeper about those verses, which was so powerful and gave me so many aha moments about them. And in that moment was increasing my faith even more. Like just beautiful. Anyway, the Holy Spirit is magical, literally.
Yes, it is. I have a question
Mhm.
for you though.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to understand when I get a download. Um, and because it's almost like I don't know if it's for you, but I was doing plant medicine and I was really feeling it. And for me, I started using microphones to change the frequency for when I talk to my children. Um, and I've noticed that I'm being heard more, right? Because it's not my regular voice. So the other side to that is I was over a
Wait,
friend's house and we had
wait,
like a little
using
get.
microphone. Hold
Yeah,
on. What do
a
you mean
microphone.
microphones? Like a
Like,
really like
hold on, let me show you. Hold on, I'm gonna show it to you real quick
that's funny. I
because
have one too.
okay, here's my microphone. Right now,
Okay.
I didn't start out with this one. This is the one I recently just bought because I use them so much. Let me show you the other one. Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna pull over real quick. Let me show it to you because I just put it in the bag. Because
That's
I on the
funny.
way to take my children to school this morning, we sing and we sing different songs and whatever it is that they like, and just to kind of get them riled up, right, for the day because the teachers are going to be with them. But this is the microphone that we started out with. Now it's a good microphone, but I use my microphone maybe quite a bit throughout the day, right? So I say all that to say, I believe I had this type of microphone when I went over my friend's house. We had like a little get together and I had my microphone. And so she was like, "What are you about to do?" I said, "A podcast," right? I was just fucking around. But the point was, it don't matter what I'm about to do. Whatever I'm about to say through this microphone, you're going to hear it. Don't worry. But here's what came to me when I was on the plant medicine. And this is what my question is about how do you get a download, right? So I'm sitting there and we're talking. Mind you, she has a pool. So, yes, I have my microphone in the pool. And we were talking, and it was literally almost like a podcast. How we were just talking. They were talking from outside the pool, and I was inside the pool. Then they joined me and everything like that. But then when I got outside the pool, I said, "Seeger, why is this microphone so important to you?" Something just came in my mind. I wasn't even really thinking. You know how you can, because you really can't think your next thought. But the next thought that came to me was because as a child you weren't heard, so you're making sure that as an adult you're fixing that shit. And I said, "Oh, that makes sense." Because as a child, I was not heard. So as an adult, I'm making sure number one, I surround myself with people who do want to hear me, and number two, I'm making sure that I can be heard. I'm not mumbling. I'm enunciating my words. I'm being clear and concise about what it is that I want, say, and will do. So I ask you, when you get your downloads, how does it come? Is it something that just comes over you and it gives you words? Or is it something that just comes in your head and you're like, yup, that's it? How does it come for you? How does it manifest? For me, it was just something that was just like, oh, secret, that's easy because you weren't heard as a child. And I was like, oh my God, where did that come from? I'm looking around like, who said that? You know? But it was my brain that said it. So I'm like, holy shit, I love this. Let's do more. No, but legit for me, that was probably the first download I received and absolutely knew it was a download. So I ask you, how
Mm,
does yours come?
yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I first of all, I love the microphone. Oh, I'm gonna do that because that is exactly what I've been moving through lately. I've been working on because I yelled at the kids so much and it's lowering now. I'm not yelling as much anymore. Really, because my body won't let me now. My body has been responding like in a way of like sickness, or I could feel it trying to go into sickness if I it's like it's almost like in order to yell now, I really would have to try to force it out. It no longer can be just natural. I think that could be why I couldn't even scream this morning when I was trying to release the rage. It only came out in this kind of monotone way because my body now, and I feel like it's an answer to prayers, really, that I prayed for help on this. I prayed for healing in certain ways, and I feel like my body's protecting itself and I've been speaking out as I've been setting boundaries with my kids and family and other stuff. I've been speaking out saying, this is what I will no longer do, I'm not going to accept this anymore. But I have been praying about what are some new techniques then if they're not going to hear me, what are other ways I can get this, get heard? And same thing for me, I wasn't heard as a kid. So I definitely am now making sure I am heard, but I'm looking for more, and I've been praying for better communication styles, how to communicate better. I've been praying about it. So Spirit's working with me on that. And So I thank you for being the vessel that brought that tool through to me of the microphone. I'm gonna do that because then also too that brings the humor aspect into the serious moment, and then also can help everybody pause for a moment and make each other feel heard by holding the microphone. I like that. Thank you, Sigrid. I'm gonna do that. That's gonna be hilarious too.
I want to share one more thing. And
Yeah.
for there's this song that I heard it before once or twice, and it really, I mean, it took me, right? It did something to my spirit. And it's called Ordinary. Not Ordinary
Mm.
by that one guy. It's Ordinary
By John
by,
Legend.
no, yeah, that one is a good one. But this one, hold on, let me pull it up real quick, because I play it all the time. Let me see.
Okay.
It's
Well,
Ordinary
maybe.
by Alex Warren. And when I
Okay.
tell you, that song just does it, right? Mm. I wake up my sons the way in which I wasn't woken up. Okay. I was woken up with the light turned on, covers pulled off, get up, time to get up. How I wake up my sons? Uh, Lionel Richie, hello, and I have my microphone, and
Oh.
my phone is there, and we're singing together like karaoke. But that's how I wake them up. Is it me you're looking for? Right?
Mm, mm,
Because I wanted them for so long. How do I make sure that they know they're wanted? So, most recently, I introduced the song Ordinary to them. And right before I went to bed early, I think a couple nights ago, 2 nights. Well, actually, last night. And I said, hey, what song do you want in the morning? You got any special requests? He was like, no, you choose. And then right before he closed the door, he said, Ordinary. I said, say less. So I walked in there, and it plays like a little melody before it starts, the words. But when I tell you that song, listen to it and you'll understand when you listen to it,
mm,
like what it really, because it talks about kissing the ground of your sanctuary. I'm like, that's your
mm,
feet. How many times have we kissed our children's feet and been like, oh,
mm,
when they're little, right? I just love you so much, and they laugh and they giggle. For me, that's what that brought back. Kissing their feet,
mm,
appreciating them, loving them, even in their best and worst.
mm.
So I say, sing songs to your kids, man. It works. It works,
Yeah.
especially the songs that allow you to kind of connect with them. And again,
Hmm.
connection over correction every day, because we're humans. And the first thing that these little humans see is either our smile or our frown. So which one are you going to give them? You know?
Mm, mm.
So um I'm loving the mother that I am becoming, that I am. And I have a lot of male friends or male associates who ask me about how they can be better men because they're not being who they should be to their girlfriend or their wives. And one of the guys, I told him, I said, hey, let me hold your hand, right? And he tried to shake my hand. I said, no, 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 just put your hand in my hand, right? And then he tried to hold it on his own. I said, no, let me feel the weight of it. Let me feel the weight of it. So he literally just relaxed. I said, hey, I need you to be vulnerable right now. He was like, oh my God, are you serious? I was like, yeah. And he's a guy's guy, you know? And I said, just relax. And I said, remember how feminine your wife is, right? And I said, look at me looking at your hands, right? Your hands are masculine, right? Your hands are built for work. Your hands are built to be strength and to hold things up, right? He was like, yes. I said, how about you hold her up in the space that she needs? And if you have a moment and you can't necessarily control what you want to say next, grab her hand, just like I'm grabbing it, and just look at her hand and look how feminine it is. Does it need to be talked to like that and how you're about to approach it? Or can it be handled a different way? But here's the other side. Right before you explode on whatever it is that she's saying that you disagree with, pause. Look, take that gulp. Gulp. It takes 90 seconds for whatever emotion you're feeling to kind of settle down. You got 90 seconds, right? He was like, yeah. And mind you, he forgot that I was holding his hand. And at some point I said, hey, guess what? He was like, what? I said, I'm still holding your hand. He was like, damn, see, damn. So the very next day, he said, hey, listen, I put into practice what you said because she got me riled up. And I said to myself, I'm not going to let her get me riled up. I said, but is it her or is it just your reaction to whatever it is that she's asking for? He was like, you're right, you're right, you're right. So when I say, I think my ministry might be in teaching males how to be more understanding of the feminine energy that needs to be observed and witnessed. Like, I would say about 4 or 5 of my coworkers, when I do my deliveries, have asked me how they can be better men. And I tell them my story because I wasn't always as feminine as I am now. I used to be a masculine stud. So I know what it means to be masculine and feminine, the hybrid, the yin and the yang. But I also know how hard it is to let your ego sit down for a minute and understand it's not about you.
Mm.
And so they're like, damn, my ego is loud. I was like, yeah, it is. It's supposed to be. But just remember where it's projected at. Is it projected towards your lady, or is it projected trying to protect her? And I said, if you're giving her that and she's being assaulted by your words and your anger and everything else, who's protecting her from you? He said, damn. He said, I can't protect her from the world and then not protect her from me. I said, yeah, so you got to do better, right? He was like, I do. So when I tell you, I love my life, man. And I love the fact that these gentlemen are willing to listen. Remember I talked to you about I wasn't heard? I'm being heard. Like they like, give me some more. They're asking for more. But I'm like, that's all you get for right now. Work on that. That's a lot right there. He was like,
Mm.
you're right, it is. And so every time I go in there, I don't go in there a lot, to work. But when I do, he's, hey, I got something else. Talk to me about this. Okay, well, let's talk about it. Because we're sitting there doing packages, not really doing much of anything other than just labeling stuff. We could talk. And so that's when the dialogue comes, and we literally have these heart to hearts of, hey, yeah, I messed up. Oh, let's talk about it. How did you mess up? Yeah, I did this, this, and this. Okay, so what do you think you need to do better next time? I ain't never think about what I could do better next time. Well, it may come up. You never know.
Mm.
You're right. You're right. You're right. And it's not about me being right. I just want to show you the way. That's it. That's it. So again, thank you for allowing me to speak and share my testament of life and the journey of it. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. You gave me so many golden nuggets in there I needed to hear. Um, and I appreciate, like I said, with me too, because you gave him tools to not only for self-reflection, but you also gave him permission to be heard and seen and held and created safe space, a little, mini safe container for him to self-reflect in being held when you were holding his hand. And then that opened the doorway for him to be able to make that change, self-analyze, really essentially create now self-respect so then he can respect his partner. And that's beautiful. Thank you for doing that. Yes. That also gave me some, I heard the spirit when people speak, because I'm going back to your question, by the way, of what happens when I get downloads and stuff. It's coming up to that. And we are going over time, but if you're okay with it, I'm okay with it. If you want to, okay. Whenever you need to go, of course, say you need to go. But um, so one of the things is you were giving, oh, when people speak, I could hear the spirit speaking through them. And the way it comes out to me, this is one of those psychic capabilities, I would say, in that category. The way it comes out is it's like you're speaking regularly, but things that spirit's speaking directly to me through a person, it's like spirit amplifies their voice a little louder to me. It's almost like spirit puts a highlighter over that portion. How you highlight words in a book kind of. It's like, okay, if you're speaking the whole paragraph, spirit highlights to me through raising the sound in the way that I'm processing it, hearing it, so to help me know this is us giving like a cosign to what's being said exactly. So that's one of the ways that spirit speaks through me, to me psychically, through other people, by the message, by way of amplifying and highlighting to me, um,
the message that your spirit is feeling to share with me. And it literally is like you said a whole, paragraph or two of things, right? And so it literally is like a sentence or something. Like the whole thing is valid, but it just like a paragraph would when you're studying notes, the whole thing is valid, but there's some things that we highlight. And that's what spirit does for me a lot when people are speaking to me. And so what was highlighted to me was about with the kids. And so, anyways, that was the other thing. So when Spirit's highlighting certain things to me, the other thing that's happening while it's being highlighted is Spirit speaks behind that voice too. So there's like two things that are happening psychically at the same time for me. And it's I'm hearing that phrase amplified, and then I'm also hearing spirit in me explain in even more detail, like at the speed of light, really, at the speed of light, what they want me to know further in relation to that highlighted portion, or they'll explain it to me in a way that I can better understand too, to understand the depth of it by way of like a strong feeling to help me feel what it is that you're talking about. The other way is while they're highlighting that phrase, they'll also give me an image in my head. They'll give me an image as if I'm there in the space where, and I literally see like the scenario that you're talking about in the time that it was happening. Um, so those are some of the psychic ways that some psychic things come through to me. But I was getting messages I heard about my kids, um, about, I love that phrase. I've never heard this before. Connection over correction. I love that. I'm going to share that with some people that I live with here. Connection over correction. And that's an answer to prayer and something I was already feeling because just these last few weeks with my kids that we have been going through that's like nearly every day, this, having to correct them because they're always doing something. There's like been extra arguments. There's just a lot of transition that has been happening here, and my patience has been a little bit more low, especially because I've been doing a lot of energy work lately. So I'm moving through, like I said, I woke up with rage and needed to release it through the pillow. So, but they don't know that. They don't know I'm moving through these things they're processing in me, because they don't know I just went to a sound bath or I just went and I'm still settling things. They don't know I was just working with a client or whatever. So while I'm processing something, moving through, they're arguing and they're doing all their things and fighting or not listening to me when I say do this or what they're supposed to do. And so I would come off a little snappy, or like I said, now lately my body has answered prayers and hasn't even really been letting me yell as much anymore. Where if I'm gonna yell, it really has to be forced. Like I have to be forcing it so much. And now it got to the point where it's like, okay, I don't even want to force. I don't have the energy to, it takes too much energy to force it out that I just have been listening to my body's call to be more calm. And um and so it's made me approach the situations with a little bit more intention, so that slowness, so then I can be more intentional about my words. Now, my tone is still the thing that is being worked on. The tone is still not the best, but it has gotten better. And so, and the tools that you've given are very helpful, and I appreciate that. I'm gonna apply them, utilize that, and I like that connection over correction. Because at the time, in the moment, too, I can understand your friend probably felt too. It is hard unless we have somebody to guide us through when we're in the moment of uncomfortable feeling of anger or frustration, whatever. It is hard in that moment to think straight and try to think, well, what is the better way to do this? Especially if we don't have an example. It sometimes does take a third party to help and assist, but in the moment, it can be difficult. So the moment of pause is very helpful. The moment of pause is definitely very helpful. And for me, like I said, my body has just kind of been forcing me now to go into a moment of pause. Otherwise, it's like almost warned me, if I don't, then sickness would come, and it's like, so now I'm in good health and I'm making sure I keep keep myself in good health by listening and obeying to the body's language and signs, like signals and warnings now. I'm listening. Um, the last thing was the psychic thing. How do I get psychic or what comes? So like I said, those are some of the ways that the psychic information comes through. Now, for your question too, I'm glad you brought that up. And this is just the last thing I'm going to bring up and then prayer and close out. But um, for those of you interested, I've been getting a lot of requests and I'm so grateful for it because it's been pushing me into this direction for people wanting guidance on how to do the psychic work, how to access the psychic part of them, how to access even their intuition even more, how to understand it and do what I'm doing. And I feel it's time for me to share that journey, and I'm so happy to do that. So I am in the process of um, creating a workshop for that, an in-person workshop for that, and a course, an online course to attach with that. And so I'm in the process of creating that and to help those who are new to the psychic work but have a feeling that they are inclined to it, and to help those who are already in their psychic work but want to practice, improve, and strengthen their skills even more. And then for those who aren't even just into psychicness but just want to increase their faith, period, because psychic work and faith are go hand in hand. They truly go hand in hand. In order to do psychic work, you have to believe in miracles, period. Like, they kind of work hand in hand. And so, just to give a little tidbit of what would be in that class, like you said, yes, exactly what you experienced when you got that stream of consciousness, that stream of information that dropped into you. What did you do? You trusted it. You trusted it and you gave yourself permission to honor it. That's right there, literally the basis of psychic work is letting yourself trust yourself. It's creating a relationship with yourself of trust and then honoring it and carrying that out, being willing to be curious and explore from there. That's the foundation, I would say, of psychic work and of faith, really, is trusting yourself. And you gave yourself that permission to do that. And so, same thing with me. That's how it started with me when I was getting, and it started here. Like we point to different areas of the body. For me, it started here at the heart, at the gut, and then also the mind. And um, it started because as a kid, I wasn't always psychic through visions or I was, I think, when I was like under 5, maybe, but then trauma, right? Protect Trauma came in and my subconscious mind protected me and took away a lot of memory and capabilities and whatnot, and fear came in. And then so the only thing I really had to rely on was my feeling. My feelings were really strong growing up, and I was a very quiet kid. I was very quiet and I was a strong observer. I would observe everything, and it made people even uncomfortable, adults specifically, because we would be in a long 2-hour car ride and I wouldn't say a word, not to hurt anybody, but I was just listening, learning, observing, absorbing. And so people always thought I was weird or, what girls didn't like me or whatever. Um, So it was I only had some type of popularity to balance out that awkwardness because of being a jock, because I was an athlete and I was good. So that was like the balance of it. But anyways, it wasn't until I turned 18 that I started to find my voice and give myself permission to speak up. And then over my 20s, I started to do self-help and plant medicine work and meditation, yoga, all this stuff to help me clear out more blockages. And then now I'm in the phase, I'm 33 now, and now I'm just in the phase of I'm fully liberated. I unapologetic with, what I express, but I'm now learning how to express it in more productive and efficient and loving ways. So that's the phase I'm in now. But it did start with I gave myself permission to just trust myself and trust what I was feeling, honor what I was hearing. And that is like the leap of faith, the first leap of faith test that you need to then be able to chip at the door of psychic capabilities to open more capabilities. Over time in my 20s, as I was working on myself, clearing my channel. And what I mean by that is my physical vessel with yoga, with healthy eating, with, doing all these different things. I made my vessel cleaner for spirit to speak through. And then I also did other things and practices and whatnot to strengthen other capabilities that we all actually have. So some people are born with, some people, they call them like the five clairs. I think it's called the five or six clairs. Um, Let me see here. Let's see real quick. Six clairs, I think it's called. Senses, I think that's what it's called. But yeah, so it's the six clairs. So clairvoyance, which is clear seeing, clairaudience, which is clear hearing, clairsentience, which is clear feeling, um, claircognizance, which is clear knowing, and I think it's called clairalience, which is clear smelling, and clairgustance, which is clear tasting. So these are all, just like we have the five physical senses, we also have these six non-physical senses um, that we have access to, but it's not taught in school how to use. We're not taught how to use them because it's not especially in the American tradition, it's not a part of the American tradition or culture to acknowledge anything that is beyond the physical. We praise more all physical stuff over anything non-physical, and for the most part. So naturally growing up, some people are naturally clairaudient just by from birth, and meaning they could hear the Holy Spirit, they can hear their angels, or maybe they're a medium where they can hear spirits who have passed on. And or maybe they're clear, I think it was sentient where they could see and they could see spirits or something like, but maybe they can't hear it very well. But they all have, maybe they have also a strong feeling. So there's these different things. Maybe somebody has these strong smells that come out of nowhere, and it's like they get the smell of something interesting, and there's nowhere of that thing to be found in front of them, but they get this whiff of the smell, or they get a random taste in their mouth of something. So there's these different capabilities, and then we all have that what we're usually used to calling intuition, which is the clear feeling, the feeling. We just have this knowing something's not right, or this knowing that, yes, that's where to go. And there is no logical explanation to it. There is no, sometimes, maybe even everybody around you might be against it, but you still go for it because you just know this is right. That's you listening to your Holy Spirit, to your higher self, to the higher mind, the omnipresent intelligence that's inside of you. And all of these capabilities, all of these non-physical senses are real, and they are a part of us, just like the physical taste, touch, hear, smell, see, all those things. Now, just like anybody who is born, and maybe one is born really with the capability of being fast, like they could run really fast, but the next person, it can't run fast, but they can run. Maybe one person is born with the capability of being able to sing so beautifully, just naturally, no music lessons, nothing. But then some of us we can sing, but we don't know it, or we can sing, but we're shy, we have an emotional blockage about it. Our voice was cut off when we were a kid, trauma, or maybe we could sing and we just need lessons. We just need a guide, a teacher to help us cultivate the skill, the muscle more. So in this way, this is how those non-physical senses work as well. Some of us are just born with a stronger capability than the others. And because maybe I was more clear knowing, I just knew. I'm also mostly Aquarius. So that's Aquarius' sign. We're very psychic. And we have this, Aquarius is known as I know. And it's because it's true. We have this very much of a in tune psychic thing. So I had these strong feelings, and I just didn't know how to do what to do with them. And then over time, as I cleared all my other blockages, I was able to open up the channel for seeing. I was able to open up the channel for hearing. I was able to open up the channel for taste, for smell, for touch. Um, and that's another different thing. I forgot what they call it. I think it's called psychometry, where you can, maybe this is somebody else's blanket, and I could tap into, maybe they're a passed on spirit, and I could tap into um, the messages of what they want to say. I could tap into their spirit by just having their blanket near me and tapping into the energy that they left behind on that blanket, or or even I could tap onto the memories that were held in this blanket. So if somebody, this happened to me and I discovered this by accident, there was a blanket, a crocheted blanket that a family member gave to me to just in with the intention of wanting to pass it on. And maybe I think it came from a great grandmother or something. And I had to get rid of this blanket because I whenever I touched the blanket and I would get this wave of hearing, seeing, and experience feeling someone who had that blanket who had such sorrow. They were always crying in the blanket. They were boo-hoo crying, letting it, and I tapped into what that blanket was, how it was serving that person who had it. So even though it was something that was passed on, I had to let it go because it was just bringing that energy to me. And so there's that capability. But I always say it like this, just because we have the capability doesn't mean we have to use them. Doesn't mean that just because we're stronger or somebody's stronger in another capability than us, right? Just because somebody can sing better than we can naturally does not mean we cannot cultivate the skill. We all have the singing muscle. We all have or we all have the capability to build muscle, to get stronger as an athlete, to get smarter, intelligently, whatever it is. We all are born with the majority of the same capabilities. And it only is by choice of the person if you decide to go to the gym and look like Arnold Schwarzenegger or not, right? So have muscle, but if you decide to work out that muscle, then it gets bigger, it gets stronger, it gets better. If you don't, that's okay. And if you definitely don't use it, it will go into atrophy, meaning you would lose its capability altogether, or it would just become remedial in a sense, or it would really take a lot to get the momentum of it going again. Um, and so, I was able to open up those other capabilities and access those things. And it started with trust and faith in myself. So I hope that answered your question. I know that was long, but that's just a little bit of what we're going to go into in the workshops that I'm teaching for the psychic capabilities and whatnot, and to teach other people how to tap into that, how to tap into their intuition, understand it, how to protect ourselves as well, protection once we're in the journey of that, exploring that, and how to just increase your faith in general. So that's going to be in that workshop and in the course soon. I'm really excited to share it. It's going to be fun. Yeah. But thank you for asking because I wanted to share that with some people. It's been coming. But I just want to say, Heavenly Father, Yahweh, thank you so much. Thank you, Baba. Thank you for providing for us. Thank you for thank you for the messages that you've been giving us today. Thank you for the opportunity to share what we love, to share what we've learned, to share what we practice, to share our faith. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for guiding us. Thank you for letting us be vessels of love, of leaving legacies of love, and for giving us the space, the kindness, the grace to not only allow ourselves to be activated more and improve even more, but to to practice giving ourselves the grace to change whatever we need to change, to absorb the information and the wisdom and the the testimony from each other. Um, We recognize that as you. We recognize that as you speaking through Sigrid, speaking through me, speaking through these Bible verses, speaking through all the people that were in our testimony and the experiences we have. You are in all things, Yahweh. You are in all things, and you are the creator, the source, the life, just the magnificence. And you work through us. And thank you for teaching us how to be in tune with you, trust you fully, completely, and understand how to move in harmony, in grace, in love, in self-respect, integrity, and sovereignty with you, utilizing that power that you give us as our birthright, just so naturally, because we are your children. And so you are this all powerful and almighty, and therefore so are we. And I thank you for teaching us and helping us increase and improve that understanding, the faith in that, and guiding us on how to use those capabilities with so much love. And I thank you, angels, spirit guide team, all those beings of love and light that are involved as well in protecting us, guiding us, healing us, helping us. In Jesus' name, I like to pray, and I acknowledge all faith, faith, and love. Amen and Ashe.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Yes,
Amen.
ma'am. It's a beautiful
Amen.
session today. Thank you.
Yeah, and that was a little, oh, we're ending at 10:10 too. 10:10 on the clock.
There we go.
Hey.
There we go. All right, bye. No, I'm just kidding.
That's
Yeah, man, listen,
beautiful.
thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Today was wonderful.
Yeah, thank you. And I would love to talk to you about a few things after, if you still have time.
Absolutely.
Um, yeah, and yeah, I would like to ask for your help as well, because
Okay.
um, yeah. Anyway,
I
so I
look
love
forward to
you.
it. Okay, will do. Love you too. And I'll see you on the other side.